Right, so we were sharing these books. Where are we? The chart of accounts. So this is the listing of the chart of accounts. I started with my chart of accounts. Set a text. I'm actually setting text. So to set the text as a product, to set Zimra as a supplier. We now setting the account. Now the chart of accounts. So all you are doing now is to come here. Then you say rename. So you can actually add to this one. Or in an economy where they use the sales tax, you leave it like this. But you're going to say VAT. Sorry, you're going to change this to VAT liability. And you're changing this to VAT liability account. And as in the VAT liability account, it's a current liability. It's a current liability. Panapapakan's account type. It's a current liability. Then you say save and close. We can actually choose to even go further because Kanamaga VAT chain, especially with a system that doesn't have VAT, it's good maybe to understand with another ledger. You want to create a ledger for the VAT output. So you can come here and say other accounts, VAT liability, Panapa, other current liability. In the other current liability, you say continue. Then after continue, you come here and say VAT output. And then you say VAT output, which is a sub-account of the VAT liability account here. Right? We'll learn about that. You say what sub-account, next chapter. Then you create another one, you can say VAT input, which is also a sub-account of the VAT liability account. So that's not only the system knows occupy ledger VAT liability, you occupy ledger VAT input and VAT input. The net between these two, because Pamuno charge a customer, it will credit this account. Pamuno charge one a supplier, it will debit this account. So the net of the debits and the credits would then go in the VAT liability main account, which now becomes the amount you are supposed, that is due to Zimra. And as a VAT chain, right? Wonderful. So this is where we are. No questions about creating or setting VAT settings or VAT customization. This is VAT customization. Any questions? Any questions so far? No questions. Right, we'll proceed. So the last one is multi-currency customization, multi-currency customization or setting. Multi-currency customization. Baba taenda tikangono ku preference tikangono seta kuti tino collect under preferences here. We actually went here tikati multi-currency tikati company but a seta kuti tinoshandisa our home currency or the reporting currency or base currency is what? US dollar. So all transactions will be converted into the US dollar value so that we can prepare a profit and loss, a balance sheet, a cash flow statement, any other report or a cash book that is mutualized. Just imagine take some sales at 10,000 Zim dollar, ne 70 US. How are you going to add $70 plus 10,000? You can't do that. So multi-currency, we have to convert one of the transaction currency into the base or reporting currency or home currency, so that the 10,000 maybe becomes $100. $70, then we say sales $170. Though maybe take a collector mariajo in different forms. And so to do that, multi-currency, you can start to make notes are detailed about multi-currency. But at this junction, we are wonderful, thank you. Right, so we come here and to set multi-currency, you go to the company menu. You go to the company menu, then you go to manage currency. I trust you are taking notes where you go. because those zvinenge zvitori exam, because those zvitori kukubasa mangwana mitomuka muchienda kubasa pamuri kutoenda any company yamuri kutodedzwa mukasvika mukapiwa new system kana mundopiwa system yanga isina kugadzirwa zvakanaka. This is what you are required to do. Then you go to currency list. So you go to currency list. So macurrencies edu emuworld medu anenge ari panapa kubva kuna A achidzika kundosvika down to our motherland, here. Right, Zimbabwean dollar, riripo. I mean, minority RTGs and the like, but riripo Zimbabwean dollar. Together, Zimbabwean Zambian kwacha and stuff like that. So any currency yakaiswa X here, it means you don't accept that as your transaction currency. I'm trading with that but any currency yakafanana US dollar yakaiswa both define. And also my software don't forget kanobva kuEurope nekwaAmerica. So as a result, vanouya vakatipa macurrencies are already free active QuickBooks kweinoyanya kushandiswa. So US dollar is active and that's our multi-currency and we can't deactivate it. So we go up. If you want South African rand, then you also tick. So to untick here, it means you are selecting this to be received as, or you are allowed to transact with the rands. So I'm gonna leave out rands for interest sake because that is so I'm gonna go up. I'm looking for any currency. We're gonna Japanese yen. So meaning say QuickBooks Japan chose. You know, Japan is a small country, but in economy, Euro, European countries, the Euro currency is actually activated already defaultly. And we go up, Canadian dollar, no software, America, so Canada, QuickBooks, so we go up. But even did us here. Saying this this one, you know, the Australian dollar. Okay, so Canada is so that's the first stage. It means to select the currency attribute. The second thing is we come here under company again. We go to currency, then we go to real currencies, normal black market. You can actually download the latest exchange rate online per internet. You can have all that, but we in Zimbabwe is tricky because if you interbank rate, but black market in Delta. So you're going to add the black market because that's the rate because you can pretend that rate the interbank black market my accounts in US are going to be distorted, unfortunately. So yeah, it's really interesting. I wonder can I'm world minimum accountants and for Zimbabweans, we're really ahead of everyone. I tell you. So home currency adjustment. You come here. So currencies up. Oh, Zimbabwean dollar selector. Forgive me, you didn't tell me that. Wonderful. So let me come back again. Manage currency list. You scroll down and select the Zim dollar. Here, Zim dollar. So if you do this, now Zim dollar, we can accept Zim dollar. So what we have done is we are saying to not transact an US dollar and the Zim dollar, but we report in US dollar. So if you come here and say home currency adjustment, you see we have got my transaction foreign currency. Zimbabwean dollar becomes a foreign currency. In this case, we also have the US dollar as the best currency. So I can come here and actually set the exchange rate. Exchange rate formula. The formula yatinoshandisa yekuisa exchange rate yedu in QuickBooks inofamba sei. Tovatanga number one, if reporting in US dollar, this is the formula equals. If reporting in US dollar, this is the formula 1 divided by the rate. 1 divided by the rate. For example, if we are reporting US dollar in the rate per 100, we go per calculator 1 divided by 100. That will give us 0.01. This is 0.1 rather. 0.1. We calculated 0.1. Can someone give me 1 divided by 100? What's 1 divided by 100? 0.01. Excellent. So this is the rate US dollar. Then you come here and say exchange rate. ZWL exchange rate. No, my ISO at 100, and it got $100 is equals to $1 US. So is not ever put 1 cent do $1. 1 Zimbabwean dollar is equivalent to 1 cent in US dollar. That's what I mean. Right. Number 2, if reporting in Zim dollar, this is the formula. Rate divided by 1. Rate divided by 1. So if the rate is 85, if the interbank rate is at 85, so you're simply saying 85 divided by 1. In other words, you come here and simply put the rate. This was all. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. So then you say save and close. This is how we set. Our QuickBooks is now ready for use. Our QuickBooks is almost ready. It's not ready, but it's almost ready for use. Because to create a database ready, and we have defined it, but to create but I set my parameters in the company preferences, customization, but I set a VAT, but I set a multi-currency. Then this thing we can now use multi-currency. US transactions. Takwasa kuchaja VAT, ichitenda kuma accounts kwayo zvakanaka. Takwasa kuita kuwana repository kuda and everything is really okay. And also my long overdue invoices they are charged 12% per annum at a minimum charge $10 per each period. Wonderful. Right, this is customization. Before we proceed and move on to chart of accounts, Dokumbiro, any questions? You can go ahead and unmute your mic and give me the question. Give us the question. Any questions? Yes, Brother Takuza.
Sendeta problem pa exchange rate formula tokupesera ndanyazonzwisoti
excellent. So can I tell reporter if the accounting can I QuickBooks said teacher account in USD, if the reporting currency is USD, then the formula is 1 divided by 100. So you are calculating, it's a formula 1 divided by 100, then you divide it by the rate rather, 1 divided by the rate. In this case, for example, here 1 divided by 100. 1 divided by the rate. Then if the formula is, if you are reporting in Zim dollar, if the reporting currency is Zim dollar, then the exchange rate formula is a rate divided by 1. The exchange rate divided by 1. So in other words, any number divided by 1, it will give you, it will retain and answer here the same number. So when I rate by 85 divided by 1, it means the rate ramunoisa QuickBooks nengeringo 85. Masubata brother Takuzi.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. So we can proceed. We can proceed. Right, so we proceed. Sorry, forgive me. Sorry. Right, thank you very much. So the next topic is chart of accounts. Chart of accounts. Chart of accounts. That's the next. Right, now that we have created the database and we have customized our database, we now want to create the chart of accounts. Right, what is a chart of accounts? What is a chart of accounts? It is a listing of all the accounts. It is a listing of all the main and sub accounts in a general ledger. It is a listing of all the main and sub accounts in a general ledger. General ledger. So zvazvikureva chart of accounts tikureva kuti kana maakuita maaccounts pamunondoshanda kuaccounts maaccounts acho right. I always give example of the Monomtapa Empire. You remember where the main Tapa Empire toba taisa Great Zimbabwe. Inside that war area munozoenda unoitawo madzishi anenge ari mukati anotongawo vanhu vavo vashoma shoma. Inside madzishi ivo munozoitawo futi vanhu vari mukati memomo masabhuku anotongawo tuvanhu twavo tushoma shoma. Mobva mazosvika mudunhu rasabhuku imomo mozoonawo deke yatongawo family yake. So deke akawana mhuka yake akatoshanda akaunza chikafu anounza muaccount inonzi dekeya. And that account then feeds in a main account inonzi sabhuku chimuti, which will then begin to create accounts for the Tapa Empire. So that the chart of accounts is just the listing of all the accounts in a general ledger. And it main account at the main and sub accounts. Then main accounts. My accounts are constituted in main accounts, and also we have got what we call sub ledger or sub accounts. And so the main account is the parent. It is the parent account that at times carry sub accounts. It is a parent account that at times carry sub accounts. A parent account, another point, a parent account with sub accounts is not allowed to receive transactions. A parent account with sub accounts is not allowed to receive transactions. So what I mean is, this is the chart of accounts. Let me just come here. Chart of accounts on the home page. So whilst Tiripanapa, Taisa VAT liability. So this one becomes the main account. In a sub account. At times some main accounts are going to sub accounts, like as you can see. All these accounts, they don't have sub account. The one in the sub account, so a main account can in a sub accounts. All transactions, tikaita VAT, my transactions have VAT on sales, and VAT output. My transactions have VAT on purchases, and account. The net figure, this is what I mean. And it is sub account. Sub account. These are detailed. These are additional detailed. These are additional detailed accounts that reports to a parent account. These are additional detailed accounts that reports to a parent account. So as no chart of accounts. Kana tikangoti susu tidangoziva income yedu, maybe let's go to income accounts, maybe tinema income accounts, where is income? Tikagoda income yedu ari sales like this. So tikagoda income yedu ari sales like this, then it means chero tikatengesa ma exports nema local sales, mari yedu yese inongoenda mu account yakanzi sales. Hatigoni kuzoziva kuti ma exports akaita mari, my local sales akaita mari. But if you are required to have a management report, no nyatoti taurira kuti of the total sales income yatakawana for the past quarter, how much of that were local sales and how much was or came from exports? Then we come here and create sub accounts. Then we create a sub account rakanzi export sales, ne sub account rakanzi local sales. So kana takuzogadzira ma chart of accounts edu tikaenda pa income, if we filter, we can filter and say tikakuona the figure redu rema sales is 1 million. Of this 1 million, how much is local sales and how much is exports? Then we can tell the trend and say 68% was local sales, 32% was exports. So local sales are performing very well compared to exports. And ndo patinoda kana kuti example tikagadzira ma furniture and fixed assets accounts, you might be required to say tikagadzira a fixed asset account inonzi furniture and fittings. But now furniture and fittings, balance sheet tells you that the net book value of that furniture and fittings amount. So we are forced to create under the furniture and fittings to create a sub account yakanzi costs neyakanzi depreciation. Why? Because tudakuti kana tatenga asset toisa sub account yakanzi cost. Ma purchases edu ese patitenga ma assets ma furniture toisa makanzi costs. Then kanata charge depreciation to then expense the asset on the use on that particular period. Then tondo is a makansi furniture and fittings depreciation. Then kanata is a mariedu depreciation. Then it means the net between the cost, which is a debit balance, and the depreciation, which is a credit balance. The net yachuna ino baenda makansi furniture and fittings is the net value because no you're actually after. Right, that's a sub account for you. Let's proceed. Let's proceed. How to create sub? Before how to create sub accounts, common accounts that require sub accounts. Common accounts that require sub accounts. My accounts are not demanded my sub accounts. That chance the word common because it's not always the case. It's not always the case. Number one, assets, fixed assets. My fixed assets, and which are the sub accounts that don't have fixed assets, costs, depreciation, disposal, and revaluation. So we got a fixed asset account. No, but man, no sub accounts. A costs to some marriage. This is a good thing. Assets to know the sum account. You can't cost depreciation. Maria depreciation to some depreciation sub account. Revaluation moka revaluate asset Maria revaluation to end up kundoidebita mu revaluation account. Then disposal asset disposal account Maria say you could dispose in asset to isa mu that account. Another account, loans kana mchinge mukutola ma loan akawanda. Atidi kuti mungoti long term loans, moti mukatora loan from daycare, motora loan from another shareholder, motora loan from CBZ, loan from NMB. Mariese moiunganza in one account. This is the challenge that will happen. Mukati mi matora loan 100,000 CBZ, motora loan 50,000 NMB. Mo mangoti 100,000 plus 50, moisa mo one ledger, main ledger. Ku balance sheet inobuda zvakanaka kuti tino 150,000. But mukwanise kuzotuudza kuti loan ye CBZ ndeipi, loan ye NMB ndeipi. Kana mukazobhadhara CBZ 20,000, mukaenda vanoti less 20,000 in the ledger rema long term or short term loans account. Then muchange mungorine transaction ye 100,000 when we receive credit yeku receive the loan, 50,000 pataka receive from NMB, then debit pataka bhadhara CBZ. But tikakubvunzai kuti how much do we owe CBZ? Can you print the ledger? How much do we owe NMB? Please print the ledger. You might not be able to do that. So to avoid that, you need to create sub accounts for loans. VAT, another one. VAT liability. VAT input and VAT output sub accounts. VAT input and VAT output sub accounts. Another one. Payroll accounts. Number one, payroll expense. Tinoda kuti mumagadzira accounts akafanana basic salary as a sub account. Number 1. Allowances as a sub account. Bonuses as a sub account. And any other income ya munopama employees in mobile sub account ya leave days. My leave days is an expense to the company. Leave days is a sub account. And also my benefits is a sub account. If there are any values that might be monetary as a sub account. So any Maria munopama employees in is their salary. You are going to create that as sub account of the payroll expense or salary expense. This is so that can the basic salary for the past 6 months. Yakamira say you can actually have a ledger remote basic salaries. My allowances individually you can have. Another one. Can you add this one again? Company contribution to NASA pensions. And you know this out the company can achieve salaries. Pane contribution uti mushanda anodidactiwa NASA or anodidactiwa pension or anodidactiwa CMAS medical aid. The company contribution is a payroll expense. Transport allowances, etc. Must sub account of the main account. Let's proceed. Payroll liabilities, the second one. The first one was payroll expense. Payroll liability. My liabilities, edu mari that no owe what chapa mari activity my salaries. So the first one is payroll liability. My deductions edu setcha gather is my sub accounts. NASA sub account, NASA control account, payee control account, pensions control account, medical aid control account, then most of the salaries control account, which is net salary edu, net salary no sara kanata deductra wanu marie NASA yesima sechi from income yatava payaya. The first one that I got that salaries control account and upper sub accounts and another basic salary. Do ya no debit. That's an expense. We are debiting the basic salary, the allowances, transport allowance, bonuses, we debit because my expenses to the company. Then we credit the liabilities, which is we credit my deductions that Marie yes yata debit $70 ichaenda ku NASA, $50 ichaenda ku payee, $20 ichaenda ku CMAS. $10 ichaenda ku fine at funeral assurance. Then yasara from deductions, we call that salary control account. No man net salaries. Kana mungu tora manos mundi nyoro salary control account is not out net salaries. Munemukana 80% yekuti zvandiri kutaura izvi munosangana nazvo manje kubasa kana musama. So atisi kungotaura tinotaura accounts dzacho chacho ndizvo. So whether mune Berliner payroll but my accounts are anongoiwa nekuti information chabva ku Berliner ichabva ku any payroll ichauya ichiswa in the form of journals in QuickBooks. Anditika another account that demands income accounts. Income accounts. My income accounts are done on other sub accounts. Which gather my income accounts, mama define out income ya bakupi. So you can say, can muchita fix and supply business? Then you take some solar panels, my solar products. Then at the same time, you no install a solar, so let us supply and fix and supply, let us installations. You can have my sub accounts that are for income. Income ya kaba kuma services, ema installations, imari. Then income yakaba kuma sales, ekutengesa ma solar panels, nema batteries, etc. Imari. So that you can tell kutengesa mu shop ma products edu kuri perform as compared to installations. Maybe in future you can choose to say, let's just go for installations. Installations do better. And in Papa, munema base yenyu 5 muri munenzwa. Pama base yenyu 5 munogonoda kuti income from each bus. So that mono basi riri perform zvakanaka here pamwe rafana kutengeswa. Imi mukangoisa income yakalambwa into sales. How are you going to analyze and tell that this income stream is performing perfectly well? We together nditika. So you can have such examples tichienda takadaro. All right. Mama mati mimi chart of accounts type. Chart of accounts type or category. Chart of account category or chart of accounts type. Chart of accounts type. We have two major categories. Number one, the first one is income and expense type. Income and expense type, in brackets, temporary accounts. These are temporary accounts. My accounts are no vara each end of the accounting period. My income and expenditure accounts. Number two, we have the balance sheet accounts. Balance sheet accounts. That's the second one, the balance sheet accounts. So pama income and expenditure accounts, which I need to stroke a few notes under income and expenditure. Here we get these ones, these categories. We have got income, tunaisa income accounts, akafanana sales etc. Number two, tunaisa expenses, akafanana na rent, salaries, telephone expense, staff costs etc. Hope Murundi add all those examples. Then tunaisa other income, akafanana na finance income, kana mukawana interest, Maria interest yoyo inonzi other income, and it is also other income. Other income accounts do aya amusiri part of asiri constitute your normal operating income. So after nima interest, kana mukawana interest, mukawana ime Maria uya sisiri ema sales, ema products, ema sales, yes inoenda ku other income. Then lastly, tine other expenses. Other expenses, that's interest expense here atambotaura yaya kana tichinge tiri sutazobhadhara interest yacho, it's an other expense. Whilst we are there also nezvimwe zvinhu zvakafanana na exchange gain and exchange loss kana tiri multi currency. These are examples of other expenses or other income. Anditi mazuva ano accounts edu akuitwa zvana statement of profit and loss and other comprehensive income and the like charts, so financial reporting. But when you set the chart of accounts, define. So mukagadzira an income account inofana kuenda ku other, mukaisa ku main account, ma reports ese amuri kuita ari wrong. Zvese zvamuri kuripota ma accounts ivaya ari wrong because ari ku overstate. Let's give an example. This particular month, makawana normal sales enyu munotengesa solar panels, maona sales enyu 20,000. But muri kutengesa sales mazowana exchange gain, maybe pamaria mayo inayo bank makaitengesa ne exchange rate. Moba mawana in exchange gain ye 10,000 US. Benefit maybe millions, I don't know, bank in Zim dollar. Matengesa into US dollar, but that conversion you have to pay a profit ye 10,000. Mukaenda muchanzi mimi makaita 30,000 US. But on the cost of sale yedu ichange chingowanikwa ku 20,000. The cost of creating the 20,000 of the normal income, maybe that is 8,000. Pamaifana kuti 20,000 minus 8,000. Masala net 12,000 is your gross profit margin, and it got maybe the gross profit margin in this case is over 50-60%. But mimi makwenda monoti 30,000 minus 8,000, musala 22,000. You are overstating, you are lying to vanhu vachashandisa maripotsi vayo. So nyaya ye reporting inototangira pakuseta the correct chart of account. Do pane nyaya ye. So don't rush, don't worry. My invoices, my quotation, my journals, my depreciation, my reports, zvese tichaita ndo zvatakavinga kuno, but tiri kuti hazviitiki zvakanaka kana tisina kutanga taita first things first. Anditika then mamati NB muri ipapo, NB cost of goods sold, it's an expense chart of account type. Cost of goods sold, it's an expense chart of account type. So cost of goods sold in its own type, but actually it's an expense. I know the cost of goods sold is just an expense in account trading. Right? Wonderful. So number two. So number one was income and expense type or category. Number two, balance sheet. Balance sheet. Let's go to balance sheet. Balance sheet. The balance sheet accounts. So my balance sheet accounts can break into my current assets. Current assets. accounts, e.g. inventory, accounts receivables, etc. No current assets accounts. Number 2, current liability accounts, e.g. accounts payables, short-term loans, accruals, etc. Then fixed assets. That's another type. These ones are land and buildings, computer equipment, machinery and tools, furniture and fittings, etc. Those need under fixed assets. But tawirira na kuti mu fixed asset accounts tinoda ma sub accounts also. So mukati mimi computer equipment, in the computer equipment you are also going to create sub accounts akanzi cost, depreciation, revaluation, and what? And asset disposal. Kuti mukazotengesa asset munoisa mari yacho mu asset disposal. Muka revaluate, muka value land ikakura, munoenda kunoisa revaluation transaction yacho na journal racho mu revaluation. Muka tenga asset munoisa mu cost, muka depreciate munoisa mu depreciation. Ndizo zvoka. Right, hapa fixed asset over taisa isusu long term liabilities. Tinema long term liabilities, e.g. long term liabilities, e.g. long term loans, etc. Kana marital loan inopfura 12 months, so you're going to create that one as a long term liability and this account. Then kana mapedza kudaro lastly mati equity mari dzevari dzeve business ndozva zvinongoreva kuti equity zvinongoreva kuti mari dzevari mari yese yatinayo mucompany is represented nemari kuti mari yevari dze business ino-owe how much to the owners. Vamwe vanogona kuiti owners equity, vamwe vanoiti owners equity. So maaccounts atinogadzira ipapo ndeaya. Share capital. Number 1. Number 2, munogona kuiti stock. At times munogona kuona yakanzi stock chaiche, capital stock, share capital or capital stock. Then tovataenda tondoti susu retained earnings. This one munosvika yakagadzirwa kare. Retained earnings. Revaluation reserve. For small companies, munogona matotigadzira account inonzi owners withdrawals. Varidze company munofana kugadzira account yekuti kana vakauya vakatora mari mucompany hamugoni kuti munozoti mari yaendepi because yabuda mubank. So you are going to create the bank debit which account. You have to tell us kuti mari yakatorwa nevaridzi vebusiness. So vakauya vakati mondipewo 10,000, ndipewo 500, ndipewo 900. Mabusiness edu kaya ndo zvavanoswera vachiti vanongotora mari. Saka imi musanetseka kana vatora mari, munongoti sainai pavoucher, ndisainire kuti matora mari nhasi, ndisainire hamungotori. Kana vakazvitransfera mungoti sei pane mari yakatitransfera ndiani? Ndini ndakatransfera, sorry ndakakangana kukuudza. Mamati aitsokei sei? Matora voucher book renyu wakatransfera 73,000 into personal account. Ndisainirewo kasei up pakanzi account manyora owners withdraw. Watotora mari yavo yebusiness, vari kudya business ravo. Kana rikazogwadama mangwana mavaprindira statement iroro movapa, mobva uziva kuti ndokwakaenda mari. Ndizvo zvoka. Right, excellent. So takuda kumbobudiswa ndichakumbirawo. So that one ndo maaccounts edu zvakaita. I want to agree with you kuti toita sei. It's 1 o'clock already. You guys